Listen, here's the thing. If you can't spot the sucker in your first half hour at the table, then you are the nice guys on business. Need an education on how to grow your business? The nice guys are here to help. Learn about great customer service, networking, and how just being nice can help you prosper. Now, here are your hosts, Doug Sandler and Strickland Bonner.
Hey, nice guy community. Welcome back. Welcome back. My name is Strickland Bonner. On the other side of the microphone, Mr. Doug Sandler. We are the nice guys on business. How are you guys doing today?
Hey, Strick, guess what? I actually have the promise statement all pulled up and ready to go.
So wait a minute. We're going to get to introductions of both of us and the promise statement in the first minute of the podcast?
Yeah, well, it's totally.
Whose podcast is this? This is clearly not the nice guys
Wait a
on
minute.
business.
Let me close that tab. And then I'll get lost. Nice guy community. If you do not recall, on Monday's episode, Strickland reached an epiphany. Do you reach an epiphany or do you have an epiphany?
I think you have an epiphany.
Okay, Strick had an epiphany, or maybe I had the epiphany. Mm-hmm. What the hell's an epiphany?
I don't know. You tell me what epiphany we're talking about, and I'll try and explain it to you.
The epiphany was understanding that all of the problems that have been caused as a result of technology are not because of the Apple products that I have, but instead because of the user of the Apple products, who is me. That would be an epiphany, right?
Yeah, that would be an epiphany. Yes.
Is an epiphany like? Is an epiphany like an aha moment?
Exactly. That's it exactly. An epiphany is like, oh, so it's not the Apple products. It's been Doug all along.
Oh, totally. It's been me all along. And I'm okay with that. I can shoulder the blame of everything that has happened wrong on the show over the last 2 freaking years, okay? But nice guy community, let me just deliver the promise statement to you, and that way I can stop sweating because I have it in front of me right now. Nice guy promise statement is to provide a learning experience that is entertaining and adds value to your life. That's what we are all about. Period. The end. Let's just make it as simple as possible. If we're not doing that, can you reach out to either one of us, me or Strick? Mine is at DJ Doug on Twitter. That's my Twitter handle. Strickland's is at nice guy on biz with a Z. That's probably the best way to reach out to us since we don't have the phone number anymore.
Yeah, don't call 4242 DJ Doug because we're disconnecting it because nobody's calling it.
It didn't work.
It didn't work?
No, the number still works, but it didn't work. The reverse psychology, still no one has called me.
Well, that's what you think. Really, we're recording this intro a week early. Somebody may have called over the course of the week between now and the time that we actually post this. You never know.
I'm just going to go out on a limb and say nobody called. Nobody called.
Okay. We'll see. Let's talk about our Be More Biz conference. Let's talk about positive things instead of negative things. Yeah, November
7th through the 9th, the Be More Biz conference, coming to Be More. My wife actually, she said something. I wasn't really happy.
Yeah?
She said, maybe people think it's about Baltimore.
Oh, gosh,
Be More Biz.
No, Be More Biz. No, I think it was a very clever way to do it because it's about more business, right? It just happens to be in Be More. No, I don't think. No. Anybody that listens to the show, they know.
I know that, and that's exactly was my answer. I said anyone that listens to the show or is on our community page or checks out our website or even looks anywhere, they would know that this is not about Be More. This is a show about building your business, and it is not only a conference, but it is a mastermind group. Can you want to fill in a little bit of the details for us, Strick?
Oh my gosh, we have speakers. We've got Sean Carpenter. We have Rob Jollis. We have Laura Cannon. We have
Casey Cornelius,
and some guy named Doug Sandler, who, he's got this nice guys thing. And all of them are going to be speakers over the course of 2 days. Plus, we're going to have cocktails. Plus, we're going to have dinner. Plus, we're working on like karaoke, entertainment stuff. Plus, you get to hang out and watch and listen while we record 3 episodes of The Nice Guys on Business and join into the episode if you want.
Yeah, they don't watch. They're going to participate. We'll have everybody mic'd up that's going to be in the room that wants to be mic'd.
It's going to be amazing.
How cool is that to actually include? Do you have this kind of equipment? Do you have that equipment, or we got to get somebody?
Make it happen. Well, we're going to have to rent it. I mean, we're going to lose money, but it's all right. It's all good because we care about our people that much.
Oh my gosh, how much more money could we possibly lose?
I don't know, but we can keep trying though. Hey, Donald Trump could lose $914 million in a year. We could come close to that if we try hard.
He did.
You didn't hear about this?
Oh, I don't listen to anything when it comes to that. What's up?
His taxes from, 10 or 12, 15 years ago were leaked out, and he had a $914 million loss, right? Look, between you and me, not that unusual. He's got huge business. He's got a lot of businesses, right? But what everybody is fighting about or arguing about is, okay, well, does that mean that because of that, he's been writing that off for the last 10 or 15 years? So basically he hasn't paid taxes because he declared that loss in 20 years ago or something like that. So
that is incredible.
I don't think we could possibly lose that much.
No, I'm just worried about, not being able to cover the Steve O'Brien bill. That's pretty much it. Steve O'Brien, I think, is actually the only we've figured out who the mastermind of this entire podcast is. It's Steve O'Brien. He's the only one that's managed to make
any money. Exactly.
Hey, how's our? Oh, I guess we'll talk about this on our show next week. But I'm very curious as to how our Amazon link is doing.
Well, we'll talk about that tomorrow. I'm sorry.
Next week.
Next week. We'll talk about that next week. So the Be More Biz Conference, November 7th through the 9th in Baltimore, and it's going to be kind of amazing. Basically 2.5 days or 2 days and a cocktail evening ahead of time of great mastermind work and great speakers and great fun and great people. It's going to be really interesting, and you guys need to sign up. Click on the link, and it's all good.
I am so looking forward to it. I really am. I not just looking forward to the date getting here because then finally all that work will have paid off, but just actually getting to meet some people that I have not seen in a long time. I haven't seen Sean in probably a year as of the conference date. I haven't seen Casey in a while. I have not seen Laura, although she lives in our town. I have not seen Laura in probably a year either.
No, you saw her when we did the live 200th episode.
That's right. That's right. She was there. Oh my God.
But now the other thing that we keep forgetting to mention is it is limited to only 10 people because this is a mastermind. We don't want to get 50 people. This is going to be a small, intimate mastermind group where we can all help each other out with issues that we have in our businesses or questions we have.
What's going on over there? Where are you at your studio? Where are you?
I'm at my local studio today here, which is the Westfields Conference Center. So I'm a little bit, I'm in the lobby of the Westfields Conference Center right now. And
what do people think as they are walking
everybody
by?
Keeps looking at me, and I just hold up a sign that says, I'm busy recording. Please leave me alone. So it's all good.
You got to be nice guys recording.
Exactly. Nice guys, very busy recording. Please be quiet. Yes, exactly.
We got to talk about the. We haven't even taken care of any of the swag yet. But Danielle, my wife, has a whole bunch of great ideas what we should be ordering for swag for the conference. I've seen so many cool things: the T-shirts and mugs. And I was on another show, the Dating Advisory Board. They had me as a guest panelist. I don't know why they had an old married guy like me on the Dating Advisory Board, but. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Jen, for having me. She had a whole bunch of really cool swag, and it reminded me that we've got to put our swag order together pretty soon.
Definitely.
Do we have? Is this an interview day?
It is an interview day. We're interviewing Max Yoder today.
Oh my gosh, Max is today. So check this guy out. So Max owns a company. I think he's the founder of the company called Lessonly, and they are an online training program. So if you want to get your employees up to speed, or if you want to get a group of people trained properly, Max's group actually can design this whole thing online for you. What a very cool guy. And what's really interesting about Max is that I don't exactly know Max's age, and I didn't ask him. I was a little bit intimidated by the fact that he's had so much success this early on in his life. And I felt
you don't want to know how old he is. So I'm looking in the Indianapolis Business Journal. He was named the 2016 one of the 40 under 40, but first of all, he looks like he's about 12. Okay,
he does.
He's actually 28. He's
28 years old. 28 years old. This guy has had so much experience in the last 28 years, and I think he's built a business. I believe that at the beginning of 2016, he had something like 40 or so employees. I think he has over 50, maybe even 60 right now. And we talk about the importance of having a good culture within an organization, and we spend some time talking about that. We spend some time talking about how he builds his business and the philosophies that he's built his business on, about delegating responsibility, about the understanding about how to empower your people properly to make decisions. Just a great guy, and he is a sweetheart of a guy. When I first saw the picture of him, I'm like, I hope I'm not going to wake up his mom when I call the house. But no, the guy was totally mature, and I he had an assistant that reached out to me, and when I first saw his picture, I'm like, how can a guy this young know this much? But I approached it with an open mind. I really did, and I'm telling you, within probably 10 or 15 seconds of me communicating with him, this guy's just legit, and he really understands the success principles, the success philosophies that will put you on top of the pack. So great interview, fun interview too. You'll enjoy it very much.
All right, let's get right to it. Here we go with our interview with Max Yoder.
Today's guest, Max Yoder, came to me in a dream. And the reason I say in a dream is because only in a dream, or so I thought, could you organize a team of 40 plus people in their 20s and 30s and actually make shit happen. And Max and his team at Lessonly have done exactly that. They are making shit happen. Welcome to the Nice Guys on Business podcast, Max.
It is a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure for sure. And have you ever been introduced that way?
That is one of my favorite introductions of all time. I like to be described as dreamy. Usually, only one woman in the world gives me that acclaim. So I appreciate that there are now two.
And thank you for calling me a woman. I appreciate that.
Yeah, that's true. No, two humans.
That's okay. So, Max, just picking up the ball here, tell the Nice Guy community, what is Lessonly and why is it so freaking cool?
We make employee learning software. It's pretty cool because instead of the traditional learning management system that we've really displaced, we help everybody within the company contribute to the learning program. So if you're brilliant in the company, which you probably are, you can create lessons that help your colleagues do better work. Usually those lessons are around a process that internally is repeated over and over again that people might have questions about. Make it so they don't have questions about it. Put it in a step-by-step lesson that you can assign to individuals that they can search at a later date. Software is a big part of our lives these days. We help people understand the best ways to use the software that drives the business. And then we help people understand the actions that drive the business and the best ways to perform them. That makes sense?
It totally makes sense. And as Strick and I had just explained in the intro prior to your interview here, you're a smart guy. I mean, it's like, I can't even wrap my head around sometimes the intelligence that some people have. And, are you in your 20s, 30s? Where are you?
I'm 28, and that is way too kind, but I appreciate it.
It's so great to see, Nice Guy community. Max is a young guy, but just like I can be old and hip. Okay, well, maybe not. Max and his team are totally worthy of paying attention to.
Thank you.
What is it, Max, that you find that makes your team so I don't know. I don't want to say smart because I think that's really under explaining exactly what you guys are about. What makes your team so amazing?
So it took a little bit of time for us to really put hard and fast words around that. We kind of all felt the spirit of what made the people in this company special, but we didn't really have the words at all times. I went and I blocked a week off of my calendar. We do a thing called the State of the Union. It's every 6 months. And it basically level sets the team around what we've accomplished, what we need to accomplish for the rest of the year, and how we're going to do it. And it's just an awesome time. It's something I look forward to all year. And before our last State of the Union, I took a week and blocked off the calendar and just said, I'm going to figure out what makes this team special. I love to write, so I'm going to write about it and try to make some definitions happen so that people understand what they need to live up to. Because a huge part of what we do with Lessonly is we provide clarity and context to employees, and our employees need that just like any other people's employees do. And that clarity and context needs to be there's around a whole slew of things. In this particular case, it's people want to know if they're doing a good job. Are they being the virtuous team player that we want them to be? And when I sat down to figure it out, I actually didn't have to do any work because it turns out I did a couple Google searches and somebody had already done all the work for me. His name is Patrick Lencioni, and he's pretty popular for a book called The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. He wrote another book that is called The Ideal Team Player. And the ideal team player it outlines these 3 virtues. It's a little bit of a fable, which I think is kind of funny, but it does a pretty good job kind of reinforcing his points. And the key kind of virtues are hunger, humility, and people smarts. Mm-hmm. So hunger means you crave doing good work. You crave accomplishing something that you believe to be important, but not at the expense of the people that you love and your family and your friends. A hunger when you need to be hungry. So when you need to plug in and drive, you know when to do it. The way he describes people with hunger is they never need to be reminded by their manager to work harder. Mm-hmm. And never is probably an overstatement. Everybody has down times. Everybody has times when they need to, kick in the pants, myself included. Humility is the next one. I like to talk about humility as like the opposites. And this is what Lencioni describes it. He talks about self-doubt and arrogance being kind of the 2 perversions of humility. So arrogance is loud, it's jarring, it's noticeable. Self-doubt is this quiet killer. And I worry so much more about self-doubt on our team than I do about arrogance. I don't think we have anybody on the team that struggles with arrogance. I think as humans, we struggle with self-doubt as a rule.
Amen to that, for sure. That's one thing that I think that as entrepreneurs, we always struggle with is that self-doubt. It's that quiet voice inside your head that says, Sandler, stay fucking down, man. And it's like you want to completely just do away with it. Sometimes it's really challenging.
Yeah. And I've had some really good advice in my life that I feel I've just as the best thing that somebody could have done for me to help me with self-doubt, but that's a whole different discussion. You want to be humble, and humble doesn't mean, and there's a C.S. Lewis quote in this book. It says, humility is not thinking less of yourself, it's thinking of yourself less. And that and that is profound to me, because I, for a long time, thought humility was cutting my own self down to make sure that I didn't get too high on any given horse. So we have hungry people, we have humble people, and then people smarts just really means you have emotional intelligence. You can walk into a room and see somebody's expression or hear somebody's tone and understand maybe what they need and what they don't need from your actions and from your character that given day, or from your kind of behavior. It is really just making sure that you can read folks and then you can meet them where they need to be met at any given time. And I think that is really what defines the people on this team, is that we're so fortunate to have hired, in the early days, people who would define those virtues almost to a T. And they attracted a lot of other people who were attracted to those virtues, and it just became this kind of virtuous cycle. And
isn't it true, or maybe you can disagree with this? Isn't it true that the people are really what makes the success? I mean, the people are the relationships that you have, and the success in your life comes as a result of surrounding yourself with the right people.
You bet. Oh, there's businesses. That's all it is. It's people talking to other people. And if you put the right people on the bus and you give them direction, and ideally they help carve out that direction, a lot of good things happen. When you put the wrong people on the bus, it doesn't matter what kind of direction you have. I don't want to be a part of that team. And it's not to say that we haven't made hires that just didn't work out. It doesn't mean that they're bad people, but they didn't fit the team in the way that we needed them to fit, and it wasn't going to help either party to keep them on the team. So by no means have we been perfect in our hiring process, but we're very quick to resolve those issues if they do arise.
It sounds like you may be a fan of Jim Collins also. I don't know if you're a Good to Great reader or any of his other things, but a lot of the people on the bus analogies are definitely up his alley.
You know what? I think that's just I have not read Good to Great, and everybody tells me to. I think that's a result of our board members, who I care about deeply, using that phrase a lot. So they probably have read it multiple times.
Max, tell me about, I know at 28 years old, I don't even remember what I was doing at 28 years old. I'm sure it was just head down, just trying to work and not really creating a business that would be scalable, but just trying to survive and pay my bills. When did you start your entrepreneurial journey? I mean, it sounds like it probably started when you were just a young kid.
Yeah, but for me, it was also about surviving and paying bills. And the thing that kind of drove me in the early days was my parents divorced early. It didn't do great things for their finances, and I heard the other ends of those phone calls too many times. And it wasn't that they were fighting each other for money. It's just that divorce is expensive.
Yeah.
And and then all of a sudden you have two homes, and you have two heating bills, and you have two electric bills, and all that stuff that it adds up. And they weren't really prepared for it. I got really nervous about that. And I felt it was my responsibility to do something about it, which is really a perversion of kind of, it was a kind of a perverse thought. They didn't need saving, but right. I worried about it.
Right.
I'm a worrier. So when the recession hit, my mom is in the RV industry, and my dad owns a funeral home with his brother that my grandpa started. So it was very, very different to watch my dad and have, it's a pretty recession-proof business. People are dying all the time, for better or for worse. Mm-hmm. That's the fact of life. And that business doesn't really get hit too hard until a depression would happen. And that's when people kind of pull out their insurance policies that usually pay for their funerals. But that wasn't the case for him. It was a recession, and they weathered it just fine. It wasn't easy, but he wasn't worried about losing his job because it was his job. And then my mom, she worked for the RV industry, and that sector just got crushed because nobody buys a $100,000 RV when the economy's in the toilet.
Right.
Barack Obama visited Elkhart County twice, and that's where I'm from. It's northern Indiana. He visited there twice. That was the most visits the president took to any given area that was suffering from the recession, because we had the highest year-over-year unemployment rate in the nation in Elkhart County. So it was pretty ugly, and there were literally signs in lawns in front of businesses that were like, "Don't bother coming in here asking if we're hiring. We're not hiring."
Yeah.
And I was in college at the time, and I worried about my mom's job a lot. And she put on a very strong face, but she went underwater on her mortgage, and then the job was on the line. My sister and I talked about it, and it just made me nervous. So during college, I think I was just really motivated by fear. The fear was something that drove me to say, what kind of job can I get that is not just a single job? That will do more for my family than a single job. Now, those motivations have now been quelled by, growing up, and my parents actually got remarried to one another. And it was an awesome thing. They were divorced for 14 years, and now they're back together.
Oh my gosh. What a great story.
It is awesome. It is awesome. When they wanted to get back together, they called and said, "Can we do this?" And the only feedback that we gave them as their kids were, "You can't get divorced again, but we'd love for you to be remarried." So that was the only rule, and they've stuck to it. It's now they're now going on 3 years. And yeah, long story short, I was motivated by fear. The good news is that fear kind of brought me to try to start a company. It didn't work out the first time. It really didn't work out. I was really depressed. Had friends around me who didn't need to love me in those times and still did. I got out of bed because of their encouragement, and we tried again. And Lessonly was trying again, and it worked out. And it has worked out. We got a long way to go, but this has been a beautiful ride. And the nice thing about it is that fear is gone, and now I get to do things. I realize that the people are what matter to me.
So Max, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to stop you. I just want to go back to it for a second, because it looks like early on in your career, or maybe as you were just getting out of school, you had some stutter steps and you had a failure. Can you give the nice guy community, because we're all in that same fear. We're all in fear of failure. So can you give the nice guy community a walk away lesson from that first failure? And was that another online lesson, training type of software or cloud-based software?
It was definitely cloud-based. It was about surveying at the time, and it was called Quipple. It was quick polls that publishers could create. The lesson that I walked away from that with, there were many. The one that resonates, I think, the most with any community that wants to build any software product is I tried to create Quipple in a vacuum. I thought I knew how to do it, and I thought I knew how to do it really well, and I didn't go out and do customer interviews. I didn't launch before I was ready. I launched only when I thought it was, quote unquote, perfect.
Perfect, right.
And it was a nightmare, because as soon as I launched the thing, I got emails from people who had signed up for the early beta access. And then, it wasn't even beta access. It was basically like, "Hey, we're here." And they had signed up to be notified the day that we launched. And they sent emails like, "Hey, why doesn't it do X, Y, or Z?" And the X, Y, or Z, they were all good ideas. Yeah. I hadn't taken the time to find out about them before it was too late. And I built this thing, and I, worked with an engineer who, when we launched the MVP, we didn't really have the resources to keep iterating really quickly. He wasn't full time. He had another gig, and I didn't have the money to keep moving really quickly. So I didn't nail it out of the gate, and then I never recovered. And then, not putting a revenue model around a company, you're going to laugh at that, but I didn't do it because at the time it was kind of in vogue to attract eyeballs.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Don't ever do that. It was a B2C sort of play. We would partner up with businesses, but really it was any blogger in the world could use Quipple, and a lot of people did, and they were all stripes, all shapes and sizes of blog communities. Anyhow, long story short, I didn't have a monetization route. I was taking care of the people as best I could with the customer service that I always dreamed of giving to people, because I thought that was such a weak spot in kind of in most people's businesses. But no matter how I treated them, I never gave them an opportunity to, monetarily drive the business forward. So if I treated them as best I could, it didn't mean that we were going to make an extra dollar, and we never made a single dollar in that business. And after a year, I shut it down, and then laid in bed for a few days, literally laid there.
I can only imagine.
Yeah, my whole family knew about it. All my friends knew about it, and they were all so supportive, but I was embarrassed. But it got better.
So now with Lessonly, you created a service that's scalable, and you did that by developing some pretty cool systems in your business model, and then you went out and got a shit ton of capital. So how did that whole plan come together? I'm like reading your story, and I'm thinking it's just amazing that you went from 15 employees to 40 employees in a matter of in less than a year.
Yeah. So since we started the year with 17 employees, this 2016, we now have 42. and that was a big increase. The capital it came slowly, and I really appreciated that about Lessonly was there was no kind of impetus in the early days to move the ball super fast and kind of get aggressive about quarterly goals. It took about a year and 3 months for me to accrue 10 clients. The business had just recently raised a seed capital, a couple $100,000. But for the first year, we didn't have any money. We just were kind of self-funding, and that was good. That was really good. It was scary because, I hadn't been paid in a while, but it was good because we could take time and really be thoughtful about building the right piece of software, putting the right pieces in place, and not rushing that because of a quarterly goal that we had made up. So a year and a half in is when we finally put together our quarterly goals, because we hired a gentleman named Connor Burt, who's now our chief operating officer. He came in to lead sales for us and be our first full-time salesperson. And that's when we needed goals, because that's not really fair to bring in a salesperson and not give them goals.
Yeah, you got to do that.
Yeah, so we put together the year plan. It was the start of 2013, and just said, hey, we're going to hire 3 more people this year. They're going to cost us approximately X. What do we need to be making at the end of the year of 2013 to be, to be break even, cash flow break even. Mm-hmm. So we basically modeled it was actually, that might have been 24. I can't remember. It was 2013, 2014. Doesn't really matter. But we basically just built the plans for every year to get to that break even point. And along the way, we've raised money. And the beautiful thing about raising money when you're on either right on the path to break even or you are at break even is you can set terms. If there's a good competition in the round and other people want to be a part of it, you can set terms that are very advantageous to you. People don't have to, agree to them, and that's good. You don't want to coerce anybody, but you develop a business where you can say no to things, and that is a good place to be in. And that was guidance that I got from people who, were mentors and board members. So by no means was I did I have these realizations before somebody else told me, but it was really good advice.
All right, help me for a second. You went, okay, so in recently, within 2016, you went from the 16 or so employees to 42 employees. Let's take it further back than that for a second, because give someone that's listening to this show right now some advice than trying to scale their business when they want to try to get beyond, let's say, a company of just 1 or 2. So, you're in your garage, you're developing this program, or in your basement, and you're working it out.
It was my apartment. Yeah, you got it.
Okay, so how do you get just beyond you and think with a more grand scale than, will it ever get beyond me?
Yeah, I mean, raising money was the way that we made that work. It was scary, and I think people believe that they can't do it. You can pick up the phone and give me a call, or send me an email at max@lessonly.com. You can definitely do it. You just need to make sure your business model has, the things that investors look for.
So did you have to come up with you had to have a pitch then?
Oh yeah, definitely had to have a pitch. And the nice thing about that again is I had people around me who had done this before, who had 15 years of experience. I didn't start the company just me. I had people around me who were older, wiser, and became the board members on day one, and that just helped everything. They were able to say, Max, you got to really articulate a clear problem. You really got to tell a story. And you got to show that this is a big story and a big opportunity, and that you're the right guy to lead it. And then as soon as this money comes in, you're going to put together the right team to drive it forward. Really what we talked about in that first round was team. It was, here's our revenue model. Here's the people that we need to get on the bus to, succeed. Mm-hmm. And people, I was convicted. I thought it was actually, a really strong idea, which always helps. And when somebody, that first night that I pitched a group of investors, somebody committed $50,000, mm-hmm. and now that person is a close friend of mine, but at the time they were not. And that's all we really needed to make our first hire. We ended up raising $200,000 because we were advantageous and opportunistic, and that was the right thing to do. But find somebody. There's somebody in the world who's sitting on $50,000 and doesn't know what to do with it.
Okay, so hold on. So before you go on, I like that, and I respect and appreciate what you're talking about. But the board members that were advising you, so Nice Guy Community, just so you hear this was Max. This is Max in his apartment working on. He knows he has a good idea. We all have good ideas. He has a board, but I'm assuming, Max, these were not paid hands that were on your board. These were just people that were advising you, right?
Yeah, these are people who were who earned sweat equity in the company. We all came together in the early days, and they were like, "We want to build a business. We don't have time to build a business because we already have businesses."
Max, you're our front guy. We know you got it within you. We're going to be your board. We're going to advise you. We're going to take an equity position in your company. If you just listen to what we say, we're going to guide you.
Yeah. So, and all these people had mentored me on the first business, and they were still around after that one didn't work out, and said, "Hey, let's try again."
Yeah, they believed in you. It just didn't come out of the gate right.
Yep, you got it. You nailed it.
So again, and I hate to beat this up, Max, but and again, I know that Lessonly is an amazing company, and you have the client backing to prove it. But not about Lessonly, about Max as a person, nice guy community. Understand this. Max had a great idea. He had people that believed in him. He had backing because people believed in Max. Again, nothing to do necessarily with the product. Howard Schultz, the guy that created Starbucks, it was not about having a great coffee. It was about creating an area of community. And Max all he did was he had a great idea. He was excited about it, and he had people that believed in him. Now, okay, so I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt. I try to break it down into some simple terms so that even I, the idiot running the show, can understand, anybody can do this if you have the right conviction.
You bet. And you're not an idiot. It's very clear you're not an idiot. I know the self-deprecating humor. I do that same thing. They saw in me a drive, and that drive, like I said, was motivated by fear. But it was a drive, and I didn't need to have money. I didn't need to make money, straight out of the gate. I was comfortable making nothing. One year I made $9,000. The year before that I made zero. These guys knew that I wasn't in this for a quick paycheck.
Right.
I was in this to build something cool that I thought was going to be worthwhile. And we didn't have like a clear path to a revenue model or even a strong business when we started. We thought somewhere in the learning space, there's a place for us to make hay. And we'll find it if we get together and we listen to one another and we, talk to a lot of people. And fortunately, that was reality.
Talk to me for a second, Max, about let's leave Lessonly behind for a second, or a company behind it. Just
Sure.
Talk to me for a second about the values and the tactics of using appreciation and gratitude as a part of building a successful culture at your office with not only your coworkers but your clients as well. Can you share how that has been a part of your story as well?
Yeah, in the early days of Lessonly, there were 5 of us, and I know you said don't talk about Lessonly, but it's so important here.
It's okay. Sorry. Go in your direction, man. You're good.
We had a 5-person team, and things were humming. We were still young. We were not making that much money, but we were putting something together that already felt special. And it was special because of the people then, and it still is now. But the thing that worried me about scaling the company was these 5 people are great. I want to keep having great people on the team, but my network only goes so far. So I'm going to need to make some guesses on people that I don't have a relationship with. And that scares me. And we're going to scale this team, from 5 to 10. And what if it loses the kind of beauty that it has right now? That scared me a lot. Mm-hmm. And I realized the thing that I really loved about the company was we all had this level of candor. We all trusted one another. We were able to speak openly with one another and challenge ideas in a tactful way. And I wondered why that was so easy for us to do. And it's not that it was easy. It's never easy to be direct with somebody in a way that they might, think you're telling them they don't have good ideas. You can do it, but it's never easy. I do it all the time, and it's still not easy. I wanted to make sure we kept that, and I didn't know what it was that drove that. And over time, just saw the levels of appreciation that shifted between all of us. We just were so grateful to one another that we all played an important role in the company, but without the people next to us, this company isn't a company. We needed everybody, and we shared gratitude, verbally and via cards. We have You Art Awesome cards that our engineer wanted us to create because he's not a verbal gratitude kind of guy. He wants to write it. He wants to be thinking, give it some real thought. You write it and put it on your desk after work when you're not there, so you can get it the next day and be like, oh, that was super nice. That's the way he likes to approach it, but he still wants to share gratitude.
Yeah.
And I realized that we were sharing gratitude and we were doing it really well. And that was what was able to, that was the underpinning that made candor possible. If you don't have appreciation for other people, candor it gets morphed into people feeling like they're getting beat up, people feeling like they're getting picked on, or people feeling like they're being marginalized. If you have appreciation, you know that those things are not true. This person respects you. And I recently saw an article by First Round Capital that was talking all about candor. And this woman who has done research and has gone really deep into this, she came to the same conclusion of it's appreciation. I got there because I had a counselor who was, I consider like my therapist, who said to me, Max, appreciation is the key to all the things you're looking for in life.
Oh, for sure.
And I started practicing it, and then I realized the people I loved practiced it, and they didn't even know they practiced it. And then, that was the thing that drove the candor. And if we don't have candor in this company, we are going to sink, because everybody's got ideas and they think they're great, but we need to work together to actually make them great, or at least make them, better than good. or not bad. And we still got that at 42 because we built the foundation and we talk about it explicitly now. And it's been pretty neat to see that take off.
No, I love it, and I love the I love the team that you've assembled. Any contact that I've had with I want to call them your handlers. Any contact that I've had with the people on your team have been they've just been so great. It's like everybody is playing on this playground together, so well, and as a great team. What's next on your agenda?
Very much.
Yeah, you're welcome. And you've built an amazing team, Max. What's next on your agenda? What's coming up?
That's a good question. I mean, we got a big Q4, so that doesn't excite anybody. It doesn't excite me because it's a big Q4. Our numbers just keep getting bigger. So it is. We just made 2 hires, and we made them yesterday. We're bringing in a director of finance. We're going to bring in a director of talent, and that should be finalized this week. And then we're going to bring in another sales leader because Connor has been our sales leader from like the VP of sales side. He's our COO, but he's effectively our VP of sales. And then we have 2 directors of sales. Connor's not going to be able to play that VP of sales hybrid role for too long. And we found this person who just culturally is incredibly good fit and then also has 20 years of sales experience. And we were able to lock them.
You hired the old guy. Way to go.
Yeah, no, I'm pumped about it. The VP of sales role scared me to death for quite a while because I didn't want to get somebody in this business that didn't share our values but could hit the numbers. That just wasn't. And then there are a lot of folks out there that are very good at sales, but they don't share our values. And I wouldn't want to be in a pinch and have to hire one of them. So we got lucky there. I think it's all about continuing to build the team, giving the team the clarity and context that they need to understand why their jobs are important and how they affect the ultimate goal of driving revenue. Because money is not the mission. Money fuels the mission. And we've got a big mission to help people do better work. That's what Lessonly does. When it's used well, people actually do better work and they're more confident in their jobs. And then they take that happiness home. You know how good it feels to be good at your job, and you know how not good it feels to not be good at your job, and how that impacts the rest of your life. So we have this ability to impact a lot of people. We're shooting for 1 million learners, and we're now at 450,000 learners that we've touched, unique learners, and we're shooting for the 1 million, and we're trying to get there as quickly as possible.
I love the direction. I love the direction that your company is going. If somebody is interested in picking up the ball and rolling with Lessonly, how can they get in touch with either you or somebody that's on your sales team?
Yeah, you bet. So if you want to email me, it's just max@lesson, lessonly.com. So lessonly.com. And then sales@lessonly.com. That'll kick out to all the right people. And if you just want to, hop on the website, it's lessonly.com. It used to be lesson.ly. We recently purchased the .com. It feels pretty good because now my grandparents can actually get to the website.
Yeah, Max, how do I do that again? What do I say?
They're like, what is this? What is this thing that you run? It just got ads on it, and I'm like, no, that's not it. That's just somebody parking on the domain. You got to go. But now everybody can get there. So that's good.
How much did that set you back getting your domain at .com? That probably was a pretty premium page.
It wasn't fun.
A lot of negotiation. Even for DougSandler.com, I had to fucking negotiate with somebody for my own name.
Yeah, no, I hear you. It was worth it, and we made it make financial sense. And we had a really good broker who has done this before many, many times, and that's a recommendation that I will share. And that was not my idea to get a broker. We found a guy who just was amazing, and he did all the work, and he earned his paycheck. And he saved us a lot of money. That
is awesome. Do you have time for a personal question or two before we wrap up?
I'm happy to talk. Thanks again for having me.
Oh, my pleasure, Max. You're such a polite guy. Where are all the polite young people these days?
I don't know. We're in the Midwest, man. This is kind of normal. I hope it's not over too much.
No,
I used to get told I'd say sorry too much, and I've cut that out of my vocabulary. It's not that I don't say sorry, but I don't say it as much as I used to.
My wife is from the South, and she says "ma'am" and "sir" a lot, so I'm kind of used. Not to me, but to the people that we're hanging out with. Do you have your cell phone? I know you're calling me from one of your partners' cell phones, but do you have yours anywhere near you?
Oh yeah, I do.
Excellent. So pick up your cell phone. Do you have an iPhone or something inferior?
Yep, iPhone. Just upgraded to iOS 10, and I'm really liking it.
Oh, love it. Okay, so what is the last photo that you took?
That's a great question. I'm opening up my photos, and I'll be honest with you. Oh, this is going to be so boring. It's a picture of a boarding pass. But before that, it's a picture of my 5-year-old cousin, Stella, dancing. And she actually looks like she can dance. And it used to be that when Stella danced, it was just kind of a kid dancing. And now she's actually getting pretty good at it.
Now she's getting good. That's cool. Well, the boarding pass is cool though too, because it means you're traveling and you're going places. That's good.
Yeah, got a wedding this weekend.
Nice. Where are you heading to?
Heading to Denver.
Oh, beautiful part of the country. Wow, you're gonna really have you had a chance to hit Denver before?
I was there last night. Don't ask me why I came back.
Well, you came back for this interview, of course.
I came back for the interview, and then to take the love of my life, go with her on the trip. And then 2 weeks ago, there was a bachelor party out there. We went to Wyoming, and we were in Denver, and then drove to Wyoming, and it was a blast.
Man, I love that you are loving your life, and it's I really literally I can remember through my mid to late 20s into my 30s, head down the entire time. I did not come up for air. I missed all of the 90s. I missed 10 years. I missed from the first year I got the 90s. I did. I missed the 90s. I totally
Seinfeld?
missed them.
You missed Seinfeld?
I probably got every one of them on rerun, but I don't think I saw any of the Seinfeld episodes or any TV show in the 90s at all. I know I didn't go to the movies in the 90s, and I had both my kids were born in the 90s, so you know I was watching a lot of Barney and
sure.
And what the heck with Teletubbies and all the other ones. All right, Max, last question. Text messages. Last one sent and received.
Yes. So last one was sent to Jess, and this is hilarious. I got our boarding passes for tomorrow! Exclamation point.
See picture.
So before that, I texted her last night. We got in at 3 a.m. and I said, "I'm finally home. I love you," and went to bed.
Oh, that is awesome. That is awesome.
She is the love of my life.
That is great. Where did you guys meet? How long ago and where?
We met like 3 years ago, and it was because we had a mutual friend, a woman that I met during school at Indiana University in Bloomington. It was one of her childhood friends, and I saw them around Indianapolis, and I invited them to some parties, and she always had a boyfriend. And then all of a sudden she didn't have a boyfriend, and she sent me a note and said she wanted to hang out, and I thought that was pretty cool.
That is totally cool. Very cool. Max, you're a high energy a guy that's got a ton of passion about what you do, and that is easy to see that it definitely comes through in your words.
You make me feel very good about this whole thing, and I appreciate that a lot.
My pleasure. So special thanks to our guest today, Max Yoder. We will make sure that we put all of his contact information and company information in the show notes. And,
yes, please do.
And that is so incredible. Max, thank you so much for being a part of the Nice Guy community.
It was absolutely my pleasure. Let's do it again. And thank you so much.
When you hit that 1 million user goal, we definitely are going to get you back on the air because we want to celebrate with you together.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. And Doug, if you're ever in Indianapolis and want to stop by the office, if you're ever in this part of town, please do.
All right, Nice Guy community, you all know that I never leave my house. So, so Max, there's not a good shot of that. Yes, I appreciate the invite, and I will take you up on that if I ever do get out there. But I very rarely leave my house, Max.
That's fine. That's fine. Do it how you do it. But this is a beautiful building, man. You should come check it out.
Maybe I will. Maybe I'll have to do that. So never underestimate the power of Nice Guy community. Steve O'Brien, go ahead and take us out of here.
Call 4242 DJ Doug and record an intro for the show to hear on a future episode. Say anything you want. Hell, take my job. I'm getting sick of these guys anyway. We still rolling? Don't tell him I said that.